I'm not sure how much longer I have to live. I'm afraid I might die soon. After all, they all died one by one after that, and it won't be long before it's my turn. And it all started with that mountain climbing tramp. During a rare vacation, I made plans with 3 old classmates to go hiking in the mountains outside the city. After graduating from college, we hardly ever had the chance to get together like this, so everyone was really excited. I even brought my new camera and took a group photo with everyone, and then kept snapping pictures all along the way. We planned to have a barbecue and camp overnight at the top of the mountain. To make sure we got there before sunset, Brother Ma even led us on a shortcut he found. The shortcut was really tough to walk on because of all the sharp rocks, and besides, the 3 of us, except for Brother Ma, were already out of shape from all the socializing lately. Just when I was completely exhausted, I bumped into something. Looking up, I realized it was Brother Ma, who had stopped walking at some point without us noticing. He was staring, frozen, at the thick bushes off to the side. "What is that?" he muttered to himself. I followed his gaze, and I froze on the spot too. Deep in the bushes where no light reached, something was hanging from a tree, swaying gently in the wind. It looked completely out of place. From the outline, is that a person? Mr. Chen's words sent chills down our spines. Yes, it was the body of someone who had hanged himself. After calling the police, we waited at the scene for him to arrive. Since it was my first time encountering something like this, I tried to keep as much distance as possible from the bushes, but Ah Dai not only didn't avoid it, he actually seemed really curious and kept staring at the body. Then, at one point, he frowned and said, "How come that guy's face looks like it's upside down?" His strange comment left us completely baffled. I looked back at the body. His face was shaded by trees, so I couldn't see it clearly, but his ears looked off, as if flipped upside down. I took my camera, using the flash to see the face clearly. Even though I felt a bit uneasy about it, he just muttered to himself and looked through the viewfinder, saying it was just to document the scene when we found the body, in case the police asked later. Huh? Dai didn't press the shutter. He looked up in confusion, eyes wide as he stared at the bushes, then rubbed his eyes. "What's wrong?" Was it just my imagination? Why did I just see something else by the edge of the tree through the camera? I suddenly got goosebumps all over. Mr. Chen and Brother Ma told Ah Dai not to joke around like that, but seeing how serious he looked, I instinctively took the camera and aimed it at the bushes too. What is it? There really isn't anything there. But it really seemed like there was something there just now. Where exactly? A little to the left of the tree. But over there, just as I looked through the viewfinder again, a strange, twisted face suddenly appeared right in front of me. I was so startled that I screamed and instinctively stumbled backward, accidentally pressing the shutter button. As the flash went off, I snapped back to my senses, but that bizarre scene had already vanished without a trace. I saw it too. There was a weird guy over there. His face looked like it was turned inside out or something. What was that? There's nothing here. Don't joke around like that. Faced with their doubts, I remembered the photo I'd accidentally taken just now. I wanted to pull it up and take a look, but the picture I'd snapped less than a minute ago was nowhere to be found. I was about to say something else when the police from Miffin City arrived at the scene. After questioning us, they told us we could leave. Later, the police released the results of their investigation. The deceased was a Miffin City resident who had recently gone missing. He had come to this forest alone and ended his own life. The strange thing was, he had never shown any signs of suicidal tendencies before. And just like that, the whole thing was over. But the strange figure I saw that day kept lingering in my mind. The more I thought about it, the more uneasy I felt. But in the end, I could only tell myself that I must have just seen it wrong. As for the camera, maybe there was something wrong with the memory card, which was really the most reasonable explanation. As the holiday ended, we all went back to our busy lives. I was about to put that whole incident behind me, but then, out of nowhere, terrible news arrived. Brother Ma died in a traffic accident. His family notified me, Mr. Chen, and Ah Dai, since the 3 of us were his closest friends when he was alive. But when the day of the funeral came, Mr. Chen didn't show up. According to Ah Dai, it seemed like he had fallen ill and was in the hospital. Unlike other funerals, Brother Ma's coffin was tightly sealed shut. When Ah Dai and I stepped forward, I didn't know what to say. I just stared at the photo of Brother Ma placed to the side. That photo was taken back in college. It's hard to believe that a friend we were just hanging out with a few weeks ago was suddenly gone from this world. You were his friends, right? Brother Ma's mother approached us. She looked terrible, her eyes still red. Do you have any recent photos of him? Yes, we took some pictures when we went hiking not long ago. Could you print out those photos for us? so we have something to remember him, right? This kid hardly ever took pictures, so the only ones we could find were from a few years ago. I agreed to the request without hesitation. Adai also chimed in, asking if we could see Brother Ma's body one last time. That it seemed like this question really upset Brother May's mother. Before Adai could finish speaking, her emotions suddenly got the best of her and she started sobbing uncontrollably. Seeing this, Brother Ma's father quickly came over to comfort her, and Adai and I had to step aside for a bit. Out in the hallway outside the hall, I took a deep breath. It was then that I overheard some people in the corner talking about Brother Ma. That poor kid. How could something like this happen to him? Yeah, he just happened to get hit by an overloaded truck. Did you hear about it? He was run over by the truck. There wasn't a single part of him that wasn't hurt. Even his head got crushed by the tires. They said the skin and flesh on his whole face were twisted around. According to the people who handled the body, it looked like his face had been turned upside down, like it was on backwards. That kind of description made me feel uneasy. I quickly left and went home, planning to print out the photos I took during my recent hiking trip. I hadn't used that camera since that day, so I found Brother Ma's photo right away when I flipped through the album. But then something happened that I just couldn't understand, like someone had played a prank on purpose. In every photo, Brother Ma looked different. His whole body was normal, but for some reason his face had turned a full 180 degrees, as if it was upside down and on backwards. Unease set in. Then I noticed something else. Mr. Chen's appearance in the photos had changed. His face was tilted at a strange angle, though it looked normal before. I recalled that shadowy figure I'd seen in the mountain bushes that day. A thought suddenly popped into my mind. I hurried over to the hospital where Mr. Chen was staying. The nurse told me that Mr. Chen was actually fine. He just had a bout of acute gastroenteritis, but his condition was stable now and he might even be discharged tomorrow. As she spoke, we walked into the hallway on Mr. Chen's floor when suddenly there was a commotion in the crowd not far away. A patient was running toward us, pushing through the people in a strange posture. It wasn't anyone else, it was Mr. Chen himself. Mr. Chen ran wildly out of control, finally crashing straight into the window at the end of the hallway. The nurse and I wanted to go help him up, but in the next second he suddenly stood up and turned his head to look at us. The moment our eyes met, I felt a chill run down my spine. His expression was completely deranged, his eyes wide open. I had never seen him look like that before. Soon he noticed me too, then grinned and shouted at me, "I saw him too! I saw him too!" You were right. His face really was upside down. It really was flipped. Just like this. Everything happened so suddenly. The nurse screamed. Just now, right in front of everyone, Mr. Chen twisted his own neck and then fell from the window, crashing to his death below. Instinctively, I picked up my camera, and sure enough, in every photo of Mr. Chen, his head was completely flipped upside down, just like ponies. Something's definitely wrong, something's definitely off. I told Ade everything that had happened. Looking back now, I realized that what Ade and I saw in the mountains that day probably wasn't just our imagination. We really did encounter something extraordinary. But what on earth is going on with all of this? We just can't figure it out. All we know now is that even Adai's face has started to change in the photos from the camera. Soon, with a friend's introduction, we went to a temple. After explaining our situation, the head monk sighed heavily, his face grave. Although they weren't sure exactly what we had encountered, they were certain it was some kind of extremely powerful, vengeful spirit. In fact, the person who took their own life in the wild might have died because of its influence. But why did it latch onto us? Maybe it was because my camera accidentally captured it at that time, which ended up sealing it inside the camera. Because of this, it couldn't harm others anymore, but it could still cause trouble through the photos in the camera. That's also why the photos of Zhao Ma and the others in the camera started to change, and once the changes were complete, their real selves would die in bizarre and mysterious ways. At this point, I'm afraid that even destroying the camera won't stop the vengeful spirit from continuing its mischief. What we do know now is that the order in which the vengeful spirit acts matches the order of the photos taken in the camera. Since Zhao Ma's individual photo was taken last, when you look at the album, his photo is actually the first one, while Mr. Chen is the second to last to appear in the photos. Next, the third to last person to appear is Dai, and as for me, since I was the photographer, the only photo with me in it is the very first group shot. So in terms of order, I will be the last target of the vengeful spirit. Even though this vengeful spirit is extremely powerful, there are still ways to deal with it, and at the moment, it looks like there are two options. The monks explain both methods to us in detail. The first method is guaranteed to work, but it can't completely get rid of the spirit. It can only delay its haunting as much as possible. The second method is to try to expel the vengeful spirit through a ritual, which would put an end to all of this. In the end, we chose the second method. Since Adai was the vengeful spirit's next target and time was running out, the monks decided to perform the ritual for him that very night. The camera that had been possessed by the spirit was also left in the temple hall. By sunset, everything was ready, and I was sent to a guest room to rest. They called it rest, but I couldn't fall asleep at all. Lying in bed, I could only hear waves of chanting coming from the direction of the temple hall. Had the ritual already started? I hoped everything would be resolved smoothly. That was what I was thinking, until at some point I lost consciousness. When I woke up, it was already noon the next day. The chanting that lasted all night had long since stopped. The temple was completely quiet and the ritual was over. I hurried to the temple hall but didn't see a single monk along the way. Where did everyone go? My worry grew with every step until I pushed open the temple hall door and was startled by Adai standing in the shadow by the entrance. Adai, are you okay? Did the ritual work? Dai didn't say a word, just kept staring at me. I looked into the room. The candles in the temple hall had already gone out, and since the windows were closed, the room was pitch black, but I could still vaguely make out the monks sitting in various places. I was about to say something to everyone, but soon an increasingly uneasy feeling crept into my heart. It was only then that I noticed, below Adai's head, where his body should have been, there was nothing at all. At that moment, Adai was just a head floating in midair. No, I was mistaken. Dai's body was actually hanging upside down from the beam by a rope, covered all over with talismans and scriptures. As for his face, it was flipped upside down. It was also at this moment that I finally saw clearly the hellish scene inside the Dharma Hall. Every single monk sitting throughout the room was dead, without exception. Every one of their faces was twisted in an expression of extreme terror, as if they had seen something unimaginably horrifying right before they died. On the altar in the center of the room, the camera was sitting there quietly. I couldn't help but go over and check the photos inside. Sure enough, in the group photo, Adai's face was completely flipped upside down as well. I don't even remember what happened next. All I recall is panic driving my body forward. I grabbed the camera and left the temple, running wildly down the road, trying to escape from something I couldn't see or touch. But deep down, I knew that was impossible. Brother Mai's dead, Mr. Chen is dead, and Adai is dead too. If things go in order, I'm next. I'm done for. No matter what I do, there's no way I can escape a fate of dying because I messed with things I shouldn't have. Despair took over my whole body. I wandered home like a lost soul, as if I was just waiting for death to come. But wait, I almost forgot. Don't I still have one last option? The monks once mentioned another way. Although it can't completely get rid of the curse or the haunting, it can at least delay that day from coming for as long as possible. Just like the monks told me, since the vengeful spirit is trapped inside this camera and only haunts people in the order the photos were taken, if I just keep taking pictures of as many people as possible, the spirit won't get to me for a while. As long as I make sure there are other people's photos before mine, I can delay the day I die. So, I need your help. I'm afraid only you can help me. I am so incredibly sorry, but I really want to stay alive more than anything else.